Hey everyone, welcome to the Mayor's Table. Thanksgiving is here. It's the time of giving, and that's when we bring Cathryn Abyeta, the Executive Director from the San Juan United Way, on to talk about ways to give this fantastic holiday season. So stay tuned for a lot of great information. You won't want to miss it. Hi everyone, welcome to the Mayor's Table. We hope you and your family are excited for this Thanksgiving holiday that's coming up. Speaking of Thanksgiving, today we have our friend Cathryn Abyeta, the Executive Director of the San Juan United Way, who is going to talk to us about the giving season, which is just, it's just kind of perfectly lines up with our Thanksgiving week.
It sure does.
Welcome, Cathryn.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, love having you on.
This is one of my favorite times of the year and my favorite things to come on and talk about.
Well, this is definitely my favorite time of year. Like, I argue with people a lot. Like, I love the fall,
Yeah.
but I really love Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the best.
It has good feels, and it kind of feels like quitting time should be like 3 o'clock every day.
Yeah, because it's dark.
It's
at like
dark.
4.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're right. I mean, it does have the good feels because of the positive messaging that carries through November and December. It's unlike any other time of year.
Yep.
We really need that positive messaging all year long, though.
We really do. We really do. And I think, the giving season does help kick off the tone for the rest of the year. But these few months in the end of the year, like, this is when we really prioritize coming together with the people we love, the people we care about, and then we also consider helping our community in ways because we get opportunities to think about what we're grateful for. And I think that time of reflection for us is something that it's so promoted during the holiday season, right. But then that always that really encourages, I think, a lot of people to go out of their way and give back during this time. And it's so appreciated and it's so needed. But I think it's something too, we could launch it into the rest of the year, you know?
Just got to come up with themes every month.
Yes.
What those positive themes are. But you are in the business of You're in the business of bringing people to resources to improve their lives.
Yes.
And is that what the San Juan United Way does? In a nutshell? In
a simple way, we could say we help connect the dots for people who want to help or need help. And we're as local as you can possibly be. And we work with every nonprofit, every government program, even private businesses and other schools, the hospital, other public entities, to just try to find what the right solution is for people who need access to help. And when, we work with all of those partners so that even when there's times where we find that someone can't get help in a scenario, we start problem solving and we start thinking outside of the box, and we have such an incredible community that lets us do that. There's not very many people in this community or agencies that say, that's not my job, I'm not doing it. There's just more people than not that are willing to come to the table and say, okay, we see that people aren't getting help in this area. What can we do about it? Right. Yeah.
Well, I think what speaks to that to me, too, is the fact that this has been going on now. I call it a safety net. If we go back to the COVID years,
yes,
as we call them, and how everybody came together in that moment to create, was it the 211?
Yep.
Which I've found out now, 211 is actually, they use that all over the place for somebody who needs assistance. You call 211. Those individuals try and connect you to, the organizations who can assist you the best.
So anywhere in the country, if you dial 211 on your phone, it's going to route based off of cell towers, and it's going to get you to your closest 211. And so just like that, here in San Juan County, it's us who answers that call. And so we answer it every day, 9 to 3. And then anybody who calls in between or outside of those hours can leave a message. You can reach out to us through our website, and you'll get a call back the very next day. And that's how it goes across the country. This is just a free resource and really a starting point, like a first entry into where do you find help. And so it's an incredible resource, and it's available anywhere you go in the country. And I can tell you that, what we do here in San Juan County with it is pretty transformational. We learn a lot about what the community's going through and what we can do to help.
What are the most frequent calls you get to 211?
The most frequent calls we get are overwhelmingly families struggling to pay rent or utilities.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Sometimes food. I'd say food is a close third.
Interesting. And there are programs and those organizations that are here to
Yes.
help with those things. San Juan County Partnership, I believe,
Yep.
has kind of the rent assistance program.
Yeah, there's a lot of programs like
Echo.
that. Echo. There, Salvation Army.
Even is it the LIHAP or
LIHEAP. Yes.
program, which are electric utility operates?
And another important thing about that is sometimes people don't realize when people here in our community, when people need help with utilities, it's not just as easy as one bill. There's so many people in our county who have multiple bills or multiple agencies that they have to work with to get their utilities paid, and maybe assistance is only available for one of those, most frequently through Farmington Electric Utility Service, and that's utilized by other people and households outside of Farmington proper in the county, and they're able to get some help and support when they need it too. But there's other things, even like firewood and coal and propane, those are considered non-metered utilities, and prior to COVID, they were just listed as commodities, and they were things that we were not able to get funding to cover, and it was really infrequent that we could find that funding. And after COVID, or during even, I think that really we were able to really shine a light on that's a reality for so many folks in our community, that their heating source isn't just go pay a bill. They actually have to go buy a thing that is not covered under anything. And so we've been able to help advocate for that, but then we also can find other programs to piece together a solution so that somebody can have heat during the winter.
Sure. Is the coal, is that pretty unique to our area?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
That is
that's
very
something,
unique.
Well, maybe West Virginia, maybe they have a lot of that there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't think people would traditionally think about that people still burn coal in their house for heat.
Yep. All the time. I was just out at the coal mines helping. I was out there thanking the employees for their generous contributions. They donate with a company match over $400,000 a year back into our community just through their United Way campaign.
Wow.
And in addition to that, one of the things that I learned over there is, and for years, they give out coal distribution all the time, and that's coming up now. They also do turkey drives, and they do really great things. And they also have
This at APS?
next to it over at
Navajo
Intech, Navajo Mine. And so another great thing that the chapter houses do is there's coal cards that anybody who's affiliated with their local chapter house can go to their chapter house and request a coal card, and they do have to have a truck and they have to be able to fill it themselves, but that provides sustainable heat for a pretty decent amount of people in our county. I would say it's close to, so since our county has 60% Navajo Nation, on the Navajo Nation, 30% of the people who live there are using non-metered utilities because they don't have electricity and water hooked up to their home. So they are using that, and coal would be one of the main sources of heat. And I think it is really unique to our communities. People don't realize that, but it's a huge economic driver, and it's a huge employer, and it's a pretty big benefit to our community too. Yeah.
And coal's a great resource, by the way.
Yeah.
Interesting. So circling back, all the directors of the organizations who are committed, who have a mission that's committed to supporting the community that's in need, we meet all the time.
Yep.
I mean, there's like three or maybe four. There's like three groups that I know of where at least there's some connectivity going on, and everybody's always talking about how they can support each other's agencies better, and again, fill the gaps. Like, here's something that we're seeing. How can we fill this gap? Working on grant writing, to make sure that they're capitalizing on any of the federal and state monies that are available for these missions. And I appreciate that, because I really do feel like it's a safety net.
Yes.
And I want to just commend you, because I think you really are in so many ways the unspoken leader of some of these things. I mean, you're very active on social media. You're paying attention to things when you see somebody who's in need, and you're always trying to connect the dots for them on your own time. And I know you do a lot of things on your own as well. So I commend you for that. And it's somebody used the term the other night that, you know, if you have a mission, you have a vision, and you want to see it get done, you have to have a champion. And I think that's really important. Every cause needs a champion, and I think you're one of our champions, Cathryn. And
thank you so much.
Yeah,
that means so much.
I think there's a lot of champions, by the way, but
there are.
You're here with me right now, so you're a champion.
I appreciate that feedback because I love working in this community. I love it so much, and part of the reason is because I believe there's so many champions of the mission and the mission is just, how do we make our community better, healthier, and more connected?
Yeah.
Just to be a great place to live, you know, and from social service and human service side, you know, that plays a really important role in communities' overall health. And there's so many amazing leaders in this community that I get to work with where I don't have just a job that I just process things and do things. Like our community is full of leaders where we get to do things. We get to come together, and these meetings you're talking about, these aren't just meetings where we just have an agenda and chit chat. Like, we are really figuring out, how can we help each other? What do you need? Oh, I have an idea for that. And there's no competition, and there's no benefit in that. And there's no one agency or organization that can help everyone. And
Right.
We can't be everything for everyone. And so we really do have to all work together. And when we do that, we have proof that we all do better. We all bring in more money, and that ends up making greater outcomes and impacts for the people that we're trying to serve. And then that has an even bigger lasting impact on just the sustainability and the safety net for our entire community, because
Sure.
then it's more long lasting. It's not just quick grants. And another thing just to even mention on that is, we're really excited to keep working with more nonprofits on helping them increase their grant writing potential and capacity. So that's something that we've started doing more of, is agencies that are trying to apply for outside funding, and maybe they haven't before, or they need a little bit of help telling that story and that impact of what our community looks like, what it needs, and really what we're already doing and doing so well, and how additional resources can help fill in gaps that are sometimes in our community very unique to us, but then in other times it might not be unique to us, but we figured it out and we know we need to solve this gap. And so we're doing everything we can to just team up with as many nonprofits, as many do-gooders, and just people who want to help.
Right.
You don't have to just be a nonprofit. We work with every single government agency around the county, and I, quite frankly, have to commend you and the city of Farmington for your proactiveness and your leadership and stepping up constantly, year-round. I mean, it goes on behind the scenes. Like, we're constantly talking about problem-solving things,
Right.
and that's how it gets done. It's not, you know, no big fights, no big controversies. It's just, hey, here's an issue. Do you have a thought about that? And, oh, let me pull in somebody who has expertise in this, and let's come up with a solution that works. And then we'll reevaluate if needed and re-implement if needed. But we're here to problem solve for the benefit of the community, and you lead that. And really, just we're now out of the government shutdown. That was a really bizarre time for all of us. It impacted people very differently to different degrees, but I can say that in San Juan County, it had a very unique impact, and one that we hadn't experienced before, where federal workers, there's 1,600 in San Juan County, hadn't received paychecks, 2 full paychecks at least, and many of them had reached out to our 211 service looking for help. They didn't know where to get help for the first time. The very first call that I got was from a young family who had an infant, a newborn, and they needed help finding expensive things for babies, you know,
Yeah.
formula, diapers, wipes, and those kinds of things. And we were able to point them in the right direction. But then knowing that they wouldn't qualify based on income and a traditional qualification set. So we were able to just call the different programs that we knew had these resources, talk to them about the situation, talk to them about how these families were being put into a new situation that they couldn't afford, but they also wouldn't be able to show that they don't qualify, or that they do qualify by falling below the federal poverty line. But who are we to say that as a community that they should go unhelped? And
Right.
so every single ask that we made was a yes. And you were one of the very first calls that I made, and it was yes, we are already on this. This is already brought to my attention. We already are making moves, and Farmington Electric Utility Service was so quick to make sure that utilities weren't shut off for furloughed workers.
Yeah.
That was so big. There's no fund that would have covered that. We don't have the funding for that. Nobody does, because we're already stretched thin as we are, working with the population that we already are. This was an additional population added on to needing our safety net. And we were strong because of our preparedness, but then I think that we had even more success because of your proactiveness and because of the city's responsiveness.
Well, I will tell you, Hank Adair really stays on top of things.
He does.
Him and his team, they work, they have huge hearts, and they recognize
Yes.
how important their service is. And if people aren't able to obtain that service, it can be a life and death situation in many cases,
Oh, yeah, it
especially
can be
now this time of
devastating.
year. So no, I commend Hank for being on the ball, because as soon as you
yeah.
called me, I was like, we're already doing that.
I know. I was like, thank you so much, Hank.
But even our communication about the SNAP stuff and the need for food and the need to support ECHO and how quickly
Yeah.
we got the news out. And I had multiple people after you provided some information to me that I posted that were like, hey, thank you for doing that. It's good to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes a difference when you've built those relationships. And I think, Cathryn, that's really why this community works so well together in this endeavor to support each other, is because we've built really strong relationships.
Very.
Everybody's got everybody on their cell phone.
Yep.
I think organizations like Leadership San Juan help do a lot of that too, because you're bringing leaders from all over the community together, and they're like, hey, okay, well, how can we help you, and how
Yes.
can you help me, and what do you do, and well, that those are really important, and it keeps us tight.
It does, and it kind of takes away the mystique of the titles or your position, because oftentimes those feel so unapproachable.
Sure.
And so I'm so proud of even the work that we do to partner with the rest of the United Ways in our state. And one thing that comes up quite frequently when we're on calls together and I'm sharing successes of what we're doing up here is they're like, how do I get my mayor to care about that, or to see it this way, or how do I get my county commission to think of United Way, or think of the work that we're doing, or think of people's health as including their shelter or their access to food. And I'm always a little surprised, but I love getting to answer that question, because it's relationships. It's why aren't you friends with them? Why don't you get to know all of them? And we're all just people. Like this is our community, and we care a lot about it. And that's why we've chose leadership roles, is because we want to do something more about it. And sometimes that could feel, I think some people, might want the pomp and circumstance or the notoriety of a title or something, but not here. Here, everyone just wants to get the job done and work together, and so there's no exclusivity. If you want to be on the team, join. Come on board and start helping, and that's how you build trust, and that's how you build those relationships. And so I'm constantly giving that advice to my colleagues around the state of, here, use us as an example. Here's how you work with your local city government. Here's how you work with your county government. And it really starts with you need to have relationships with them. And I think you're right. It does have to do with a lot of the things that are already going on in our community. We have such a great program like Leadership San Juan, where it brings together people in a way where we're all professionals, but we get to know each other in ways that are so human and personal, that's how we look out for each other. That's really what community is. And so when all of us come together knowing that, hey, I know where Nate's heart is on this, I know where Cathryn's heart is on this, I don't have to twist arms, or I don't have to put together a whole presentation about this. I can just appeal to what I know about you as a human.
Sure.
And then we can go get work done, and it can take 20 minutes instead of, can I have a meeting in a month or two, and all formal. And I think that's a lot of communities operate that way, because there's procedures and formalities, and oftentimes that gets in the way of just getting things done and getting the good work out there. And I'm really proud to live in this community and to have the leadership that we have, and to get to work with you and do that kind of stuff around the county.
Even San Juan Safe Communities.
Oh yeah.
Greg, who wouldn't want me to mention his name, just how involved he is in it in so many different activities, and the way he's kind of the center point
Yep.
on a lot of good things that are happening. So like, we'll do what our group that meets here, the board, which has people from ECHO and people from our mental health
Yep.
services
Hospital,
and hospital and
law
police
enforcement.
department and fire department, and then we, like the mental health resource summit,
Yep.
which we need to push a little bit more, I think, get more word out. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, we had a great turnout the last time. I bet it was over 100 people.
It's such good information to share.
It's so good.
And then the police night out event.
Oh, I know. The
this year
Farmington
was
night out
incredible.
event, it was so great.
And all the services that come and line Main Street that night. I mean, if you had questions and wondered, how can I get help for my family? Dude, that's a one-stop
there.
shop.
Yep.
It's right there.
Over 100 agencies
Yeah.
and over 3,000 people came.
Yeah.
Filled downtown, and it was an incredible night. And for the first time, we did a small fundraiser to see, and we had really awesome items donated by some amazing organizations across the county. Just to name a couple: O&G Hardware and JA Jewelers. Cocopelli Cave, even, that was a really exciting one, and they've told us that we can do it again next year. So just as teasers for plugs for next year. But raffle tickets were $1. We wanted everyone to be able to access these cool raffle items, and these were all items donated by local community businesses, and it was a way to really show a bigger support, not just as a fundraiser, but really as a carrot to bring people in and teach them about the resources. If you don't know what you don't know, and you
Right.
don't know where the help might be until you've stumbled across it. And it's so good to be able to get people in front of services before they're in crisis and have an idea of where to start. And from that, we were able to raise a couple $1,000s, and our board at United Way agreed to match the monetary donations of all of the items that were donated by our amazing sponsors. And so at the end of the month, I think at the end of the month, the chief and I will get back together, and we'll actually be able to grant that money out to the community. And we did a small survey where we asked everybody, what do they believe the most critical need in the community was? And 43% of the people who took our survey told us recovery services. That was what their priority was. And so we're going to be putting out a small call for small grants. We'll do 5 grants of $2,000 each to local nonprofits that work in recovery services. And
Define recovery services.
okay, so recovery services actually can be pretty broadly defined. So it can be mental behavioral health, substance abuse, it can be reentry, it can be domestic violence, sexual assault.
Reentry after jail time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
Interesting.
really like recovering from whatever your crisis was. You
Sure.
know, how do we help get you stable after a traumatic experience, or after a series of situations that, now you find yourself in crisis. And there's a lot of, amazing organizations out there that are doing incredible work.
Especially on this, I can speak to this on the substance abuse side, because we just recognized Brenda's House of Hope
Yeah.
for the work that they're doing with the RESET program through Magistrate Court. And it's a very intensive DWI substance abuse program to get people back sober and on their feet. And I think it's like an 18-month program, something to that effect, but it's very rigorous. And again, we need champions, and they're champions something that fills a gap in our community, because we've got a lot of treatment places that you can go.
Right.
Presbyterian Medical Service, through the JIP program, or through Senecor and others, where you can go get sober, and then what?
Then what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so finding that middle ground so that you're not putting yourself right back in the environment that
got you there
where
in the
your
first place.
habits, that's where the habit was formed.
Right.
So we're seeing a lot of improvement in those organizations that are dedicated to the homes, essentially, and
Yes.
giving people a safe place that's managed, and they're watched, and they're held accountable, because when you're coming out of substance abuse, you have to have that. You really have to have it.
You need to have a support system, and that support system needs to look different than however you would have defined it before you got into the situation you were in. It's so common that we can rehabilitate someone for the 30-day treatment or whatever their program says, but then they just say, okay, you're good, here's the door. It's so easy for people to fall back into what they know. 30 days, 90 days.
Well, how long have you had that habit? I mean, you think in 30 days you're going to kick a habit. 10-year habit or whatever it may be.
Right. And people want help. People don't, but people also lean towards what they know and what's most comfortable. It's not that they want to keep making these mistakes or these bad choices or whatever we call them. They don't know anything else. Maybe they don't have a support system that would keep them away from those things.
Sure.
So that's something that I feel as a community, that's that missing gap that we can keep working on. We have great places for people to go, but it's really that reintegration. How do you have a healthy support system in the community that's going to help you continue to break those habits? You maybe went through the hardest 30 days, but it's not going to be. It's going to keep being hard. It's not going to get that much easier immediately. And so programs like that over at Brenda's House of Hope, where it's 18 months, or programs that have a longer timeline like that, those have proven successes in being able to really rehabilitate people.
Sure.
Gives them a lot more time. But then there's also a lot of services that just help fill the gaps in the meantime. Sometimes people need help getting to appointments. They don't have a car or transportation, but we set them up with maybe 5 different groups or meetings that they have to attend to be in compliance each week. And missing one could get them thrown back in jail or get them in trouble. And transportation is a hard issue. And so sometimes that's how we're helping. And it doesn't seem like the obvious thing, but that's what's enabling the person to get to the help that they need. And so we're looking at what is the barrier and what's stopping you from getting the help, and can we eliminate that?
Right.
So
how can this community support these organizations best? I mean, I always tell folks, what are you passionate about?
Yep.
What do you care about? And then find that organization and support them. I mean, it's either money, it's time, serving on a board.
Yep.
Those kind of things are always very helpful. Your thoughts?
That's exactly it. I love to start with people of what's your passion? What is something that's meaningful to you? If you don't know right away, that's okay. Your money is so safe with United Way because you're going to actually be helping the entire support system, or the safety net and the support system for the community. You're helping multiple nonprofits and multiple agencies at once. But we do really want to help people find what is the cause that is important to you, because I personally believe that if everyone found their cause, we would all have it taken care of, because there would be, people from every different community just mixed in that care about each topic and each cause, and together it would be a combination of some people who have excess funding and they can give resources and money and donate that way. Some people want to have more of a tangible impact and can go pick up things like a hygiene item for a local high school student or middle school student so that they can feel more confident during their day and just be a kid.
Sure.
And serving with your time and talents is incredibly valuable. That's also, again, how you make more of these relationships and strengthen, I think, our entire community support system. Become part of the team, join a board, and offer your insights, your perspectives, offer your connections. If you know of somebody who needs help, refer them to 211 so that they can find it. And if you want to help, encourage others to help too. There's ways to volunteer and give back. You can reach out to individual organizations, but you can also call us and we'd be happy to find the right organization for you. Sure. We do that all year round, and the nonprofits need help, and I know that our community wants to give it. And
so just to reiterate, San Juan United Way, all the money that's donated to San Juan United Way stays in San Juan County.
Oh yeah.
You support a number of our local charities, nonprofits, through the Basic Needs Grants program.
Yes.
And a lot of corporations who help donate to that, they actually have a way for a portion of every employee's paycheck can be donated to the United Way.
Yep.
How many organizations do that?
Oof. It's a lot.
Is it a lot?
It's a lot.
That's great.
It's local businesses. We honestly have the easiest time with local businesses coming in. We come in and we give a presentation about what the needs are in the community, and we ask about what special interests that anybody has, and we'll talk about the causes, and we'll talk about the nonprofits or organizations that are doing the work and where the gaps are and where they could help. And we set up a very easy payroll deduction with payroll department, and they choose how much they want to give. And so you give all year. So you start getting deductions taken out in January, and it goes throughout the entire year.
It could be like $1 a paycheck.
It could be $1 a paycheck. Yeah. If everyone gave $1 a paycheck, I wouldn't even know what to do. We would be solving problems like all over town, because that adds up so quickly. Mm-hmm. And so that's also just one of the most inspiring things, and for me, keeps me so motivated to keep doing this. This is around the time where a lot of those companies are doing their employee donations and their employee give backs and trying to raise money for these causes. I get to see that at the end of the year, and it's really kind of in January when we've collected all that. I get to see how many, just the thousands of people across our county who've decided to give a couple bucks out of their paycheck. And like I said, I was out at the mines the other day, and I was listening to them. They have a couple employees out there that choose to give $5,000 a year from their paycheck, and their company matches that. And
wow.
So they're making a $10,000 impact in the community, and they get to budget over a year, because $5,000 sounds so extreme. But if you budget that over the year, and maybe you're not having to, maybe your kids aren't at home anymore or something, and so you have a little bit extra
sure.
room. But so even through payroll deduction, people will give very big, but the average gift is about $5, and it makes a really big impact. It adds up fast.
And it's going to good things.
Incredible things.
And it's staying here. And I just need to keep reiterating that. You're not paid through that money.
Nope.
The director of the United Way National Corporation is not paid through those donations.
No, they have their own fundraising mechanisms.
We talk a lot about, we want to support local charities who keep their money here, and this is what the United Way does. So I just want to reiterate that for folks, and you all make it easy for people to give. Alice.
Yeah.
So I have this on my list here. Spotlight on the Alice population. Talk about what that is. So
the Alice population is what we sometimes used to refer to as the working poor, or the middle class, or
the ones we were kind of talking about earlier, paycheck to paycheck.
Statistically, this group of families are $300 emergency away from falling into a crisis. So that's a flat tire. That's a medical expense. There's a lot of things that pop up that could cost $300, and they don't make enough to have saved that. And ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constraint, and Employed. And so that, nonprofits have to make acronyms about everything.
Oh, yeah.
But what that really helps us do, I think, is kind of tell a story about a population that's usually unseen, because they don't qualify for government services usually. They don't usually qualify for nonprofit services if our eligibility is based off of the federal poverty line or the area median income. Those numbers are just so low, and historically have remained low and not gone up with inflation or with the cost of living. And so our ALICE data shows a true snapshot of what the cost of living is down to the zip code. And we now have that statewide, and it was a partnership between all of our United Ways in New Mexico to come together to make sure that every single zip code was covered, no matter what, no matter if there's a United Way covering it or not. So we have a full picture for our state. And so for me, more excitedly, we have a full picture of San Juan County, and we can really break down that data and see what the need is. And when we look at that, those are families that they maybe have never asked for help before, or they don't need help yet. But when something comes up, like they're in between jobs and their new paycheck's not going to come for 3 weeks after the last one, that's when they start getting a bill that says, hey, or a pink slip from utility. And so we can try to find more creative solutions to help families that don't qualify, but they will qualify in a month if we do nothing. And at that point, it's because the situation's got so bad. And
interesting.
And we would like to prevent that from happening more often. And
sure.
There's a higher percentage of families living in that ALICE threshold than there are living in poverty in our county. And so I think it's really just an important thing to note, because these are families that are working every day and they're doing everything they're supposed to. They want to be able to, take their kids on a vacation or save up for braces or whatever that may be, but they're making impossible choices every single day to get by. And as a community, this is a way that we can strengthen that safety net a little bit more, because those are the families that often would fall through the cracks. We don't see them as often, but we are starting to see them more and more. That, along with what I said earlier about the number one calls we get to 211 being for rent and utility assistance, I'm starting to hear more often that I don't qualify for assistance, or I make just above the income level. And so what this tells us is that that level isn't meeting the need, and so something needs to be changed.
Have they
about
adjusted
it.
that level?
No.
Interesting.
And so
as inflation has kicked in, they've not adjusted the actual federal poverty number.
No.
Huh.
We hope to eradicate it and use more up-to-date data.
Yeah.
And
Well, it'd be eye-opening.
it really is.
I'd love to see some of that and
Yes.
discuss it more.
I can't wait to talk
Because
about
the monies that are donated, again, here, they're not tied to a federal program.
Correct.
So these are monies that can be used for whatever the mission may be for that organization. And that's why it's so important to get those kind of dollars.
Yes, and they're used, honestly, more strategically than the federal dollars or the state dollars. And I don't mean to diminish the outside money that's coming in.
Sure.
It's great. We need it, because that's usually what the funding, that's the bulk of what those
Sure.
programs use. However, there's so much red tape associated to all of those funds. And so those exceptions, or rather there's no exceptions, and those requirements or those eligibility standards are not set by the individual nonprofit. It's not them deciding they don't want to help somebody. They don't have control over it. It's something set by the feds. It's something set so far away, so far removed from what the actual needs of our community are, but they're not allowed. And so United Way funding, we don't have any federal ties to it. The fact is, this is our money. I donate from my paycheck. It's my money. It's my pennies add up with other people's pennies, and then we can make these grants to these agencies. And the way they get to use it is however you need it best. And oftentimes it's putting together missing pieces that federal funding couldn't cover. And it's enabling more federal funding to be used.
Fantastic. What is San Juan United Way's goals for the upcoming year?
2026 is going to be awesome. One big goal is really to really help promote 211. We want more people in the community knowing, if you need help, this is the front door. There is help in our community. And if we don't have it yet, or if there's a gap, this is how we'll discover it. And then we'll do something about it. Like you said, we don't just sit around and say, this is not my job. We will figure it out. And so promoting 211 and just helping more people understand that help is here in our community, and you don't have to figure it out alone. We have community navigators who are skilled at and compassionate at helping you navigate, for so many people, some of their worst days.
Yeah.
That's a big goal. And I'm also really excited to raise more money for families like Alice, and to try to find more solutions in the community to help families like Alice not fall into poverty or fall into a greater crisis that then ends up hurting that family. And it costs more, quite frankly, to bring somebody out of that situation. If they've had to be evicted and now they've had to lose their stuff or lose other things, it's really hard to get them back to where they were before. But it's often, like I said, a $300 or less situation to keep them where they're at and prevent that from ever happening. So I'm really excited about using the data to move us in a way that's the most effective and based on real numbers, not just what we think we see.
Is there a goal that you have in raising money for the year?
It's not formulated yet, because we're actually pretty excited to be dabbling in ourselves, looking at bringing in outside funding. And so I think that our goal is going to increase this year for sure. When we rely predominantly on our community campaign, we raise about $500,000, $600,000. And it's incredible. That's a lot of money, but we know we can do more, and we should be bringing in more because it can leverage those funds. Those funds are, like I said, the dollars that don't have the red tape. That can do the incredible work that federal funds can't. So we're looking at some other outside funding that can do maybe some of the more admin type stuff so that we can have more of that undesignated, unrestricted funding to give to the agencies, and that we can actually use that on demand. The needs change month to month. We didn't prepare for the government shutdown, but we were ready, and we want to remain ready. And so, our goal, my goal would really be to bring in at least $1 million this year.
Okay.
I know that sounds
That's the
great.
challenge, community.
I know that sounds
That's
so
the challenge.
big.
$1 million.
$1 million.
Well, so many. We've had some big donors that have obviously left the area, and I commend all those corporate partners, local businesses that have kind of picked up that slack and have done a really good job of continuing the giving to the charities that need it the most, and making sure that our people don't fall through the cracks. I mean, it's. But I'm really interested in this Alice component because we're seeing this nationwide. They're talking a lot about that population, and it's the fastest growing population that we have.
Yeah.
Well, good info.
Yeah.
Cathryn, we could talk all day.
I know. Thank you so much.
But I really want to make sure people know how to reach out to the San Juan United Way, and how they can make it easy in their giving this season. I mean, again, the giving component can be monetary, it can be time. We do have an organization in town now called Just Serve that's putting together groups. If you're interested, you can go on their website, find projects and things that they're working on.
Yes.
I do want to commend our Martin Luther King Day of Service and our 9/11 Days of Service, because those have become really big opportunities for people to donate their time and energy. But we need it all year long. And
we do.
So if get involved, it pays off dividends, honestly, in your own personal health when you're giving. And service to others, to me, is kind of, it's the full circle component of what life is about. It can't just be about me. It needs to be about we, and together we can get a lot more done. So, but yeah, tell me, how do they get a hold of San Juan United Way?
So you can call, of course, if you need help, you can call us at 211, or you can visit our website, which is sanjuanunitedway.org. And on our website, we also have a 211 page where we have quick resources for people to kind of self-direct, or they can reach out to us there. But we also have information about the basic needs grants and the nonprofits that we funded and the nonprofits that people choose to designate to, which is an incredible list as well. And then, of course, you can donate on our website, but really I would love to just point you to it to see the good work that's going on with all of our partners in the community, the different causes, and use it as a starting point, maybe of curiosity, to then look and find some other nonprofits. I know if you want to give us a call too, if you have a nonprofit or a cause that's important to you, but you might not know which one to pick, we'd be happy to help direct you in the right place. We definitely want to encourage people to keep their money local and keep their donations and giving local, because there's so much incredible work going on in the community. And even when it's not advertised or talked about, we know of a lot of really good stuff going on that we'd love to get more people involved in. So
awesome.
Website, phone number,
Well, Cathryn, thanks for being a champion of giving and
Thank you.
creating hope for people and picking them up when they're down. And I just really appreciate the work you're doing and the work that all of our nonprofits are doing each and every day. So thank you for that. Any other final words or anything?
Really, I just have to thank you. I don't think that we would be here in this kind of calm setting after a pretty rough shutdown if you hadn't been as responsive and helpful as you were. And I'm so grateful.
It's not me. It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. You are right, but
I appreciate
that network, though.
Yep.
It's that network of trust and of community, of just knowing, it's the domino effect of knowing I can just reach out to one person, and I know they're going to then reach out to their network, and the good thing's going to get done.
Absolutely.
And so I'm very grateful for that, and I know I'm just very proud of our community. So thank you.
You're very welcome, and I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving with you and your
well.
family. And I hope all of our viewers, our listeners out there, I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving as well. Take this time this year in reflection and just find a place where you can be a broader part of what is making this community great. Many people in need out there, and if you are in need, the 211 number is there for you. Make sure you get connected to the services and the organizations who can help you. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you here next time on the Mayor's Table.